that all men have inalienable rights to think freely, to talk freely, to write freely their own opinions, and to counter or utter or write upon the opinions of others.
This is from the Creed of the Church of Scientology. Hey everybody, I'm Holly, aka the ScientoloGeek, and I want to welcome you all to another Going On Course video. Today I am not just here with Caleb, but with one of my other coworkers. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Julian, and this is my first time doing any of the Scientology stuff, so I'm just ready to learn stuff that's kind of insane.
Yeah, Julian, that's something you got to expect. You think it's going to start with something basic, but it's going to go downhill very, very quickly.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So you just need to learn that women are always the problem, and it's never your fault, it's always somebody else's.
I'm kind of on board.
So, this is the communication course, and for those of you who are watching this video who know what the communication course entails, yes, we are going to get to that, and I am looking forward to it. Julian, I don't think has any idea. I've already briefed Caleb.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
Cool. Let's do it. So, how this goes, Julian, is I'm going to read the article, and we will butt in with different points, whether it's just comments or just bashing.
I already like it so far.
Communication is one of the most important parts of life. To understand anyone or to find out about anything around you, you have to be able to communicate. Communication is one activity in life that everyone shares. It's one of the most important parts of understanding. And if you want to improve your understanding to be more successful, be a happier person, and help make others around you happier, you need to communicate well. Just as you can improve your understanding by communication, you can improve your communication by understanding what communication is and how you can better your ability to communicate with others. L. Ron Hubbard deeply explored the subject of communication and made important discoveries that he recorded in his lectures, books, and writings. He developed highly successful ways to help people understand the parts of communication and learn how to improve their ability to communicate with others. His discoveries on just this one subject, communication, are used daily by millions all over the world with tremendous success.
They're wording it in a way to make it sound like he discovered talking.
Yes. And
Yeah,
I will tell you right now that the skills you will learn to communicate in the demo have actually caused a lot of problems for Scientologists when it comes to communication. They get out of it and then they realize this is not what you're supposed to do.
Are you sure we're not reading a kindergarten communication class?
It's not even kindergarten level. It doesn't even have really any common sense principles.
I know a 2-year-old who doesn't even really talk that much yet, and I'm pretty sure he'll be able to communicate clearer than whatever we're about to get into.
So,
in this chapter, you will learn what good communication is and how to recognize bad communication. You will learn what the parts of communication are and how to use them in communicating with others. Understanding the parts of communication and learning how to use them will give you valuable tools you can use forever. As L. Ron Hubbard once wrote, a man is as alive as he can communicate.
I am not reading the important note,
so
Caleb.
bad.
So you feel that you're an elderly person with Alzheimer's, sure you can talk, but in his words, that means like you.
Or if you're mute, you're just not alive.
Just not a person.
You're not alive.
I guess. I didn't even think of it that way.
That's so bad.
But I will say, Julian, about this important note, it's going to be in every single course we go through. It's just related to not going past misunderstood words, which we will get into in a future course.
Also, are they like other religions where they're like, don't swear?
Scientology wears a bunch.
Oh, that's just what I wanted to know.
Especially in the Sea Org.
Well, because now, like, I'm a good Christian. I don't swear. I don't curse. I don't say anything. No profanity.
No, Scientology's cool.
Like, you can be like,
Christianity's not cool.
fuck Jesus. Like,
Scientology.
that's
cool.
Scientology.
You can say curse
but
words.
Xenu, on the other hand.
All right.
What is communication? How do you talk to someone so the other person will listen and understand? How do you listen to someone else so they know you're interested and are following what they say? And when you say something, how do you know if you've been heard and understood? These are all points about communication that have never before been carefully looked into and explained.
Never.
People have known that communication is an important part of life, but until now, no one has ever been able to successfully tell anyone how to communicate. Oh, God. This is a lot of Hubbard's stuff, is discounting normal fields and just inserting his own shit.
Also, yeah, they're really big on the word never. Like, I am the first to do this.
I will never do this. This has never happened before.
Instead of, like, critiquing somebody else's model of it, he just says, no, everything's from scratch. Like, I really doubt that, buddy.
Before Scientology, the subject of communication had not been given its correct importance or put into a course that could be studied to get the full results and ability to communicate well. Many books and articles that were written about communication did not look at the subject as a vital or necessary part of life or show how it's used in relationships with others. They talked about communication as if it was something done by a machine. But all life depends on knowing and understanding the basics, the most important and beginning parts of communication. To be able to really communicate with anyone and do so very well, you must understand the subject fully. In Scientology, the exact meaning of communication has been worked out, tested, and proven for more than half a century. It has led to a much deeper understanding of life itself.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but on my table I keep the great dialogues of Plato, and like a couple thousand years ago, in fact, they were talking about rhetoric, and it's actually a huge thing in Greek philosophy. But I know he said that he like got into philosophy, so he didn't have the answers he wanted or something stupid. So that bothers me because there is a huge part of the dialogues of Plato that they talk about how should you talk and what's the best ways to talk and should you find better ways to talk or not. So to say that they've never done it is extremely stupid and just ignorant.
That's everything in this. Stupid and ignorant.
There you go.
There is a very simple way of saying what communication means. Communication is the shift or movement of a particle from one part of space to another part of space. A particle is the thing being communicated.
Holly, you were right. It started basic, and then now they are going insane.
We're going into
What?
redefinitions.
Like what? Yeah, what is communication just like a physical particle? Like what?
Well, a particle can be an object, a written message, a spoken word, or an idea.
Spoken word is not a particle. You can't physically
I know,
touch.
but I know, but they're redefining particle, even though
Yeah,
particle
that's
is
my
a
point. A
yeah.
particle is a thing. It's
Yeah, I
a part of
know.
a thing.
They just redefine things because they just feel like it. It is so. I hate it.
And it
there's
gets
there's air
you.
particles,
What?
but I don't like. There's air particles. Yes, you don't see them. You don't really touch them. But saying a word is a particle is baffling.
It's all just to get you in line with Hubbard's usage of terms.
Yeah, you had to
Yeah.
you had to rewire your whole brain to like try to understand this. It's.
I'm
so
creating an entire iceberg dedicated to Scientology terminology.
Oh man.
So whether the ball is an actual ball, the word ball, written or spoken, or the thought of a ball, how do you communicate that to someone else?
All the other ones made sense. Like, that one I didn't understand.
I'm thinking ball towards you.
Well,
try it.
Kaleb, you will learn about intention.
Oh god.
Oh, not Kaleb. Sorry, Julian. Kaleb already knows about intention.
I forgot already.
Okay, we'll learn about that when we get to the upper
I
level
speak English. I speak English, not Hubbardese.
Scientologies.
For example, if you took a baseball and threw it to someone to catch, that would be a communication from you to the other person. If you said hello to someone, that too would be a communication exactly following the meaning above. If someone sent you an email, that would also be a communication. Taking this simple statement about communication one step further, there's a full and exact formula, a particular method or procedure of doing or being successful in something of communication that was carefully worked out and recorded by L. Ron Hubbard. It is most important that you know and understand
what they call the COM formula. That's one of their abbreviations. I'm going to use it.
The COM formula so that you can use it with success. To do so, first look over the meaning of the following words so you get a full and clear understanding of how they're used in the formula given above. Cause is the point from which something happens or starts. If you say something to another person, you are being cause. Distance is the space that exists between 2 points. For example, the distance between 2 people might be a few feet. The distance between 2 towns could be hundreds of miles. Effect is the point that receives something. If you say something to another person, you are being cause and the other person is being effect. If the other person then says something to you, he is being cause and you are the effect point. Intention is an idea that you are going to do something. For example, if you have a strong intention to become an artist, that is what results in you becoming one. In any communication, you must have an intention to send a message to someone to make it happen. Attention is being aware of something, looking at, or noticing. If you call somebody by his name, it's usually to get his attention. To communicate to another successfully, you need to get his attention. Duplication is the action of repeating or making a copy of something. If you talk to a man and tell him about a cat, he gets the idea you're talking about a dog. That is not duplication. If he understands you're talking about a cat and gets that idea, he has a duplication of what you're saying. In any communication, it is important that the other person gets a duplication of what you are saying. Understanding is the power or ability to understand, which means you have a clear and correct idea or a full and exact knowledge of what something means. You must bring about an understanding of what you are saying whenever you communicate.
Before I continue, do any of you have any comments?
Why are they like defining simple words like distance? Like, just say how it's related to it. Why they just like why did they define distance? Like, this is so like overly exhaustive, just like for no reason.
Welcome to Study Tech.
Yeah, I think they're just adding fluff in to make it seem like more official or something. I don't really understand the point of going into detail about like what is understanding. Like, I think
It's nothing. It's literally the longest way to say nothing.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of this.
So, you are going to learn that the COM formula is cause, distance, effect, with intention, attention, duplication with understanding. This is exactly what needs to happen in any communication for it to be successful. Let's take an example of this formula in a casual conversation between two people. A man looks at the beautiful day and decides to tell his wife Mabel that he thinks it's a great day. He starts the communication. He is being cause and speaks loudly enough for the message to travel from his mouth to the ears of Mabel, who sits next to him. Distance. He really wants to let Mabel know that he thinks it is a great day. Intention. He starts the communication by saying Mabel's name to get her attention. He then describes the scene he sees so she gets a duplication of what he sees and the way he feels. What a beautiful day. Look at that sunrise. It's gorgeous. Mabel receives the communication, looks at the sunrise, and gets an understanding of what is being communicated. The CALM formula opens the door to understanding the whole subject. By breaking down communication into its exact parts, you can see how each part fits together and can more clearly understand the whole subject. And with the increased understanding, you can improve any part of the formula.
You can improve any part of the formula. That sounds like it's up for criticism. Holy shit, the first time the church says we are not infallible.
Yeah,
Unless that's not what
like
they
criticism.
mean.
Maybe they mean you can improve the way you do a
Yeah,
part of the formula.
your
like,
skills in it.
unless they're trying to say you improve distance by making it shorter. That's just kind of a weird way of saying it, though.
And use it to improve your communication with others.
Right, now we get into the little mini quiz. So, Julian.
To be able to really communicate with anyone very well, you must understand the subject fully.
I believe true. Aha.
You must understand the subject fully. L. Ron Hubbard has made that easy to do.
Oh my god!
Thank you, sir.
Oh my god! Whenever they do that weird like worshiping Hubbard stuff, it's always just a little weird.
I already know it's B, but I'll still let you go through it.
By the way, Julian, I'm gonna give you a little word. It's the word source. L. Ron Hubbard is known as quote unquote source in Scientology. So when something is done that is not in line with Hubbard, it is off source. If you're doing
like
something
the,
right, it's on source.
Do you know the meme, what's your source? And they respond with, I made it the fuck up.
What's your source? Trust me, bro.
In communication, what is meant by the particle?
Is Julian still doing this?
Yes.
It's B. It's an object, a written message, a spoken word, or an idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, usually it's like the top one.
Yeah, well,
Which of the following are included in the CALM formula?
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna
Pause.
assume all the letters that are in the word calm.
Cause, distance, effect with intention, attention, and duplication with understanding.
Saying communication is cause and effect is kind of weird.
It's just taking the basic formula you learned in science class in 6th grade and applying it to spoken word.
Yeah, they're trying to like kind of overcomplicate things that most people kind of just get just by living life,
just by existing.
Because like, yeah, when you're young and you try to explain something to somebody, they don't get it. You kind of just like
you do.
Yeah,
you kind of do.
You just keep redoing it, or you get better at communication to just practice. So I don't know who's this for exactly, but just speak clearly and like I don't really know if any of this is going to be necessary to get better at communicating or not.
Like we've already said before, Caleb, this stuff is basically an alien trying to understand humanity.
Yes! That's exactly what I was going to say. This sounds like an alien describing just humans talking, and it's like the most interesting thing in the world to
It's
them.
very Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
All right.
Communication in practice. Having learned about the CALM formula, let us now examine the parts of CALM by practice. By practice, we mean the actions of doing something as opposed to thoughts, ideas, or plans. In the subject of communication, we have what we call a cycle of communication.
Also called a COM cycle.
A cycle means the steps that are taken from the beginning to the end of some action. For example, you could say the cycle of growing a tree is as follows. A, plant a seed. B, give it some water. C, as soon as it starts to grow, give it some sunshine. And D, keep watering it until it grows into a plant or a tree.
Usually cycle in gets her back around to the beginning.
Oh yeah, I mean they don't really. Yeah, they don't mention the next part where like the tree has fruit and like they
Why
kind of
not?
explain that part.
Why not just say a process is the steps taken? Why don't they
Like
just use
the
another word?
process of communication or something. There is such a thing as like just like a one-way communication. Like you just say something to somebody, they just say understood, and that's about it. They
That's
don't
an
have to have
Or they don't
acknowledgement.
say anything.
Yeah,
We will
yay!
discuss
What are you
those.
talking about today?
Let's take an example of two people talking to each other. To keep it simple, let's just call the two people A and B. There's a cycle of communication where A says something to B, B understands and duplicates what A said, and then B acknowledges A. A receives the acknowledgement and knows that he was heard and understood. That is a cycle of communication. Now let's examine what happens when a true communication takes place. There are parts of the communication cycle that must be included for it to be good communication. As we learned in the COM formula, we need to have intention and attention as well as duplication for a good communication to take place. In the first example shown in the illustration below, we have A's intention. A must first intend to send the communication to B. When this happens, B has to have his attention directed to what is going to be said so he hears it. To be a true communication, duplication by B must take place of the message that came from A. Let's say that A says, "That's a red car." B must duplicate what was said and not think that A had said, "That is not very far." A, of course, to start and deliver a communication must have given attention originally to B, and B must have given some intention to this communication, at least to listen or receive. So we have both cause, A, and effect, B, having intention and attention. The other part of this that is very important is duplication. We can also call this agreement. The amount of agreement there is between A and B in the communication example given above shows how much they agree with each other.
No. You can duplicate something, but you don't have to agree with it. I can duplicate Hubbard's nonsense. It doesn't mean I agree with it.
You're kind of doing that right now. Duplicate. Are you trying to say that like you're duplicating the words of what they were saying into like your understanding of it
I
in your
think
mind?
so. You're creating like a mental concept.
Well, again, they don't understand that like the person's ability to understand is based off of the words you're using, and they're not really covering that part.
Okay, close your eyes right now.
Okay.
Imagine the color like teal. There's a teal rock. Some person's like, look at this green rock. And another person goes, look at this blue rock. Just because they both have a different idea of what that is,
Mm-hmm.
they failed to communicate.
Yeah. Because he was communicating as best he could because he used like a certain color, but the person who's like duplicating in their mind, like what, like this process here wouldn't solve the problem we have in Julian's like, in his
But
situation.
do you get what I'm going for? Like, you could look at something and be like, no, that's definitely blue. And then someone's
Mhm.
like, no, that's way definitely green. Like, I would call that green. I would call that blue.
Would Hubbard say the intention was wrong or something in that scenario?
I would
Like-
say that you both have MUs of the word teal.
Oh, okay.
You
All
both
right,
have
so it's just
misunderstood
more
words
different
of the word
definitions?
teal. Yes.
Let us take an example of two people talking about music that they both like. There's strong duplication and lots of agreement to begin with, and they can easily follow one another while communicating about songs they like and listen to. But take, for instance, a man who's lived all his life in a desert and has never seen the sea or a lake. Someone talking to him about the adventures experienced in a small boat on a stormy sea would have difficulty getting a duplication of what was being said, as the desert man had never, ever seen the ocean. The two people would not share an agreement until perhaps the desert man was shown a picture of the sea, or even better, a film or video of it. So we get the rule that B, as effect, must duplicate what was said by A as cause, even if it's just a little bit, to make it possible for the first step of the cycle of communication to take place. When B understands what A said and gives him an acknowledgement, then A becomes the effect and must duplicate what came from B for the communication to be concluded. If this is done, it is likely that A and B will get along well.
Okay, so tell me if I'm not understanding this, but like,
I'm
does
not.
that mean you can't effectively communicate something that someone has never seen? Like, there might be things you'll never get to see, but I can still explain them to you and communicate what that may have looked like.
You
Like, the guy
can-
lives in a desert, right?
Communication
See
helps
some of
when
that
you're
ocean.
communication can be improved upon, such as they said for the video and pictures and stuff like that. You can
Mhm.
show them things
Yeah.
in order to get a better understanding of it.
I think their understanding increases, but the person's ability to communicate doesn't increase, I don't think. Because I feel like if
Mhm.
you're a good communicator, you can explain something, a concept the person doesn't understand, and then kind of get them to understand it because you're just that good at communicating. Like, I don't know. That's just the way I think of it. But this is for me, it's just a weird example.
Yeah.
Taking the above example, let's say you showed the man from the desert some pictures or even a short film of the sea. You could then bring about a duplication of what you were talking about and be able to carry on a communication with him, describing how the wind can make the water move in waves, just like the wind can make the desert sands shift about. He gets this and says, okay, I understand. If this duplication does not take place by B and then again by A, then the cycle of communication remains incomplete. If, for example, B does not duplicate what is said by A at all, the first step of the CALM formula is not achieved, and a great deal of explaining and arguing might happen. Let's say the man in the desert thinks you're talking about a camel when you tell him how you would sail the boat in the sea and that the boat sways from side to side. Let's say he does not duplicate you at all. So when you tell him you could just tie up the boat and leave it there when you're done and never have to feed it or water it, as he has to do with his camel every day when he's done riding it, he might get upset and try to find out how it could stay alive without proper care. Then, if A does not duplicate what's said by B when B is cause in talking to A, this would bring about the same problem and make the cycle of communication incomplete, and once again, there will be missing duplication. For example, the desert man starts talking to the person about the different types of sand in the desert when the person knows nothing about the subject and has never even seen a desert. When all the steps of the cycle of communication are complete, it will result in both A and B understanding each other and getting along well. But if steps are left incomplete, we will have either A or B or both waiting for the steps to be completed. In this way, the communication becomes upsetting and harmful.
What?
Wait, what? Hey, reread that because I'm trying to understand
Confusion is not harmful.
Do you want to read this instead?
Yeah,
When all steps of the cycle of communication are complete, it will result in both A and B understanding each other and getting along well. But if steps are left incomplete, we will have either A or B both waiting for the steps to be completed. In this way, the communication becomes upsetting and harmful.
Yeah, like, as Julian just said, confusion isn't like upsetting or harmful. Like, is it? Like, is it?
Conflict can be created when there is confusion, but I don't think the idea of confusion alone is harmful.
I don't know. Maybe Harbert really doesn't like being misunderstood, and this is just like one of those things.
Basically, if you don't get it, you're wrong.
Yeah, he does think like that exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Also, one little nitpick: why do they have to use bubbles of A and B? They could have just had a person labeled A.
Just
like
two silhouettes, like a bathroom.
They just draw a person. They draw people on this all the time.
Yeah, but not in this scenario. This is two marbles.
This is
talking.
yeah. This was weirding me out a little bit. Just
They're
saying.
two particles sending a particle between themselves.
Oh,
Okay.
it's trying to glue home that particle idea.
I know, but like if you're new to Scientology, this all just put a person. It just makes it a little bit better because like what particles asking questions. I mean, fine.
Just
it's a
say like
particle, I get
Sam
it.
and John are talking. No, A and B are talking because that makes more sense.
That,
Right?
that'll help me understand. That's communicating it very well.
And that's the thing with this. It's like when all the steps of the cycle are complete. What about in like court systems?
Yeah, because you have to speak a certain way. I mean, imagine Hubbard was forced to communicate by your standards, not his. You'd just be upset. He'd be upset and like you feel like he was harmed or something.
My religion says I don't have to follow American laws.
Yes. Oh my God, that is the entire basis of the Scientology ethics book, which Caleb currently has in his house.
I do have the ethics book.
There are several points where they basically say police don't solve anything.
Oh wow.
Where they basically say that Scientology ethics is better than real world ethics.
How do so many celebrities get roped into this? Is it because they have so much money that they're like, we can buy into all this enlightenment?
I mean, there are a lot of celebrities who don't buy into it. They are usually brought in with the basic services. They're usually brought in, they usually like buy a book, or they'll buy like the communication course or the marriage course, or just some stuff to try to improve their own lives.
There are some like famous like people or rich people that eventually get like a feeling that they need to be better than others, and Scientology I think kind of does that. I think if you're a narcissist, you would love Scientology because like
I am pretty great.
you need to see the Tom. Have you seen the Tom Cruise Scientology video?
I don't think so. But
Oh, we need to watch this later.
Tom Cruise interviews.
Yeah. He was like, when I go past an accident, you just know you're the only one that can do anything about it. Like you are so fucking full of yourself. Oh yeah, we were mentioning you by saying like as an EMT in training, it's so bad to hear that.
To
like
think that you're the only one.
Some crazy celebrity that just read one too many like Scientology books thinks that they can help.
They know better than someone trained.
Which they do mention get the medical attention done first, then do your crazy
have someone who knows
bullshit.
what they're doing to it.
Exactly.
And then get involved.
Yeah.
And then claim that your thing helped.
Yeah, that's insane.
I did it.
All right.
For example, if you were to ask someone what time it was and the person never answered you, you'd feel upset at not being able to complete the cycle of communication. Unfinished steps of the cycle of communication bring about what might be called answer hunger.
What?
I'm starved.
It's called
for
the
answers,
person's
please.
ignoring me.
Also, yeah, I'd be more confused than what are they saying? They're saying upset. I don't know if I'd feel upset. I'd be like, oh, that's weird. They didn't answer. Maybe they didn't hear me or something. I don't know.
A person who is waiting for a signal that his communication has been received will start to accept any communication coming to him.
What?
When a person has waited a very long period of time for answers which do not arrive, any sort of answer from anywhere will be accepted by him as an effort to make up for not having answers.
I'm just a slut for answers right now.
I know it's just so
Jesus
random.
Christ.
Imagine like it's like I don't know, like it's like 12 p.m. and someone says, "Oh, it's 10 p.m." It's like, "Oh, thank you for giving me an
Because
answer."
I wanted
this,
an answer so bad.
Yeah, because this asshole won't answer me. I've been waiting.
Been waiting 3 days.
Yeah, and they're saying, "Oh, I'm just so hungry. I just need
People
something."
totally can't just look up answers themselves.
Yeah, this is weird.
Oh yeah, wait. What about that? What if you just Google something
I,
and you
well,
read it? Is that
he did write this like in the 50s, but again,
People follow it today.
you could like exactly as that's the argument. Where I
You
always
act
say,
like
well,
it's progressive.
yeah, I know. And that's the biggest problem I have with this is that where you were like, oh, nowadays you can just Google stuff, like you can just look at your phone at what time it is, or just any other question that you have. Like if like I don't know, I could ask Julian anything that he probably doesn't know, and then
And I'll be like, I don't know, look it up.
and then I was like, look at, or he doesn't. I say he doesn't answer me because he just is nervous or something stupid. Instead of getting upset, I'm just gonna start googling it. I'm not gonna
Ask me anything.
So, in good communication, it's important to always complete the cycle of communication and include each of the parts of the COM formula. But it can also cause an upset when an answer is given that has nothing to do with what's being talked about, such as when someone is just chattering or yakking continuous.
Isn't that vomiting?
Oh yeah.
Yakking means vomiting.
Yakking continuously. Or when no answer is given at all. Imagine if you ask the person what time it is and he says it's too hot and he feels uncomfortable. Communication itself is harmful only when the communication coming from cause is sudden and has nothing to do with what is happening or being discussed at the time.
Wait, so when you're fucking unloading dog food from the fucking truck and shit and someone just comes up to you and starts talking about the weather, that's harmful?
Yeah,
I can no longer stock a shelf because
Yeah.
I'm being talked to. Okay,
Are they describing getting distracted, or are they
don't know.
just like
that's kind
don't
of what it
know.
sounds like, but in a not effective way.
Everything in Scientology is so vague that it can be reinterpreted.
But then also they go get really specific about stuff they don't need to at all sometimes.
But then
too.
the stuff you have a single question about, they're like, I don't worry about it.
Like here, you get definitions of chattering and yakking.
Yeah.
When this happens, two parts of the formula, attention and intention, are being ignored. An example of this could be when you're talking to a group of people about how beautiful the field looks with all the flowers and trees, and suddenly one of the people in the group starts complaining about the rise in the price of oil and how expensive it is to drive his car. Interest is also an important part of communication. Interested means you're paying attention to something. Interesting means you're doing things to get and hold someone's attention.
No, you can do things
No,
to
it
get
doesn't.
and hold their attention. Doesn't mean they're interested. I've paid attention to countless things and have not found them interesting.
Yeah,
But
he's like
someone else could find it interesting. Like it's
he's kind of treating people as like babies, like like children. Right? They get so bored, like you just need to make them like some people they understand they need to be listening even if they're not interested, so that you can control what you decide to listen to or not. But I don't know, maybe because I think this might be used eventually as a tactic to just like be a better communicator, getting people to do things, just being more effective. I know this is what this is all about, but I don't know. That's just a weird point to make.
With you mentioning children, I'm just imagining fucking you're saying something to try to get someone's attention or hold someone's attention and they don't fucking do anything, so with you mentioning children, they just chuck a thing of barley at them.
Oh yeah.
Julian has no idea.
He does not know anything about the Barbie formula that actually got children.
I feel like you guys might have told me a little bit about this. Some, some formula that was proven to be poisonous, right? Or
Yeah,
something?
it got babies sent to the hospital because of Hubbard thought he'd come up with his own
Malnutrition.
formula. Yeah.
In a good communication, A is interested and has the intention of interesting B. B, to be talked to, becomes interesting. Similarly, B, when he communicates, is interested and A is interesting. Here we have, as part of the COM formula, but a less important part, the continuous change by both A and B from being interested to being interesting. Cause is interested, effect is interesting.
They're just changing the definitions of already established words.
Yes.
Yeah, a cause and effect is actually kind of like simple words too. Like I understand when like there's like certain terms that you don't use often and you just want to clarify. Like when I say this, I mean this.
Mhm.
But they literally do just take words as simple as cause and effect and want to make their own thing. Like that's always frustrating.
Of some greater importance is the fact that A's intention to be received by B makes it necessary for A to be duplicatable, able to be duplicated. If A cannot be duplicatable at all, then of course his communication will not be received by B because B, unable to duplicate A, cannot receive the communication. As an example of this, let's say A speaks in Chinese, but B can only understand French. It's necessary for A to make himself duplicatable by speaking French to B, who only understands French. Or, for example, if you were talking to a young person to explain to him how something works, you might use simple words and even pieces of an object or sketches, simple drawings, so he could follow along and duplicate what you're saying. In summary,
We should have gotten to this like 15 paragraphs ago.
if all the parts of the COM formula are included and the COM cycle itself is completed, you have good communication and you will be understood by others. This is the route to increased happiness and success.
Okay, what's the definition of route? I need to know.
Course of
What?
action.
That's not
Literally,
what you think it is.
literally, a route is the course along which someone or something
Why?
travels.
Why that of all words need to be be defined?
Just define the word good at this point.
That's
Define
it.
you.
Yeah, it's something.
And remember, a man is as dead as he can't communicate. He is as alive as he can communicate.
It's so
Do you
bad.
know how many people are on life support?
Yeah,
who
I
don't
know.
speak.
And then then there's the whole mute thing. People are just born mute, and then to Hubbard, you're just dead because you just can't
What
communicate.
about the entire community of deaf people?
There's
who
deaf
only
people,
speak
yeah,
in sign language?
Exactly. To Hubbard, you're just dead. You're just dead to him.
Yeah, but can they communicate?
I guess yes.
Yeah,
through
they can't-
sign,
yeah.
but- okay, well then the mute is the best.
or the best example is the life support person.
The life
that
support
just
They-
can't communicate.
They are alive. They're
Well-
just on life support.
Caleb, it sounds like they need a coma assist.
Yeah, they're actually they think they can get people out of comas apparently with their stupid technology that they have.
To be a true communication, a duplication by B must take place of the message that came from A.
Julian?
Okay, true. I want to say true. It has to be true.
Yes.
Why would you ever say anything Psychology says is false, Julian? Why would you say that?
What must happen for the first step of the COM cycle to take place?
Oh my god.
I want to say it's the third answer. A must introduce himself properly to B.
That
No.
would I don't know.
I'm just gonna assume that pick the one with the most Scientologies in it.
It's second,
The
yeah.
second one then.
There we go.
In the subject of communication, what does interested mean?
Is it the second answer?
It's gonna be like I thought it'd be like the fourth one, right? I'm trying to like think Scientology logic here.
What is the interested party doing? and
Oh, the
what is the
interested.
interesting party doing?
I forgot because the interested is the person being affected, right?
Yes.
So you're paying attention. That means yeah. There you go. I just forgot they use the word interested the way they do.
God damn it.
True. This one's true.
Literally every single true and false question, the answer has been true in every course we've done.
Scientology's never false.
They want the positivity and stuff like that.
Two-way COM. This is important in auditing.
People this time.
There's people.
In the previous chapter, we learned about a COM cycle. Here we have what's known as two-way COM. A cycle of communication and two-way COM are actually two different things. Two-way COM is where communication goes from Joe to Bill and then separately from Bill to Joe. Look at illustration A and you'll see a cycle of communication.
Joe to Bill, Bill to Joe.
Joe is the originator, the person who starts the communication with.
They just say cause.
They should say cause.
Joe says something to Bill. Bill receives it, and then Bill gives an answer or acknowledgement. The acknowledgement is sent back to Joe. Joe says, for instance, "How are you?" Bill receives this, and then Bill replies to it with, "I'm okay," which goes back to Joe. This ends the first COM cycle. Now what we call a two-way cycle of communication may take place, as in illustration B.
Bill to Joe, Joe to Bill.
Here we have Bill originating a communication to Joe. Bill says, "How do you feel today?" Joe receives this, and then Joe answers, "I feel okay." This acts as an acknowledgement to Bill. This is the second part of a two-way comm cycle. In both of these illustrations, we can see that the acknowledgement was said or shown. In A, this could have been a nod or a look of satisfaction. In B, it's Joe saying, I feel okay. This answer is then acknowledged by Bill with a nod or some expression showing that he received the communication.
Imagine just two people just constantly nodding at each other to show acknowledgments.
Yeah, the Hubbard. This is how people communicate in real life. Just the acknowledging each other constantly.
Yeah.
Let's examine how a two-way comm cycle works. Joe, having originated a communication and having completed it, may then wait for Bill to originate a communication to Joe. Bill originates, and this is heard by Joe, answered by Joe, and acknowledged by Bill. This completes the remainder of the two-way comm cycle. For example, Joe says to Bill, I'm going to go to town this afternoon. Bill receives this and acknowledges by saying, that's great. Joe then waits for Bill to originate a cycle of communication, and Bill originates to Joe by saying, I'm going to stay at home this afternoon as I have some work to do. Joe gets this and acknowledges by saying, okay, I'll see you later then. That completes a two-way comm cycle. Thus, we get the normal cycle of a communication between two people.
I think this is actually the most normal thing I've heard so far.
Yeah, I'm actually so glad they brought people into this and made it kind of simple.
A cycle of communication and two-way comm are two different things.
True.
How would Joe get Bill to originate a new communication after he's completed one?
I guess it's the second one, right? There we go.
Bomb trading drills.
Oh, yes.
We got to get through the intro first before we get to the drills.
Okay.
Now that you've discovered the components of communication and its formula, how do you use this knowledge? How do you put into practice what you've just studied on the comm formula? How can you learn to apply the laws of communication so easily and naturally that they seem almost to be a part of you?
How do you get so indoctrinated that you change your entire brain to fucking affect it?
Oh, yeah. You said this has actually affected people, like, negatively, right?
Yes. People have done the things in these drills when communicating with people, and other people have been like, why are you doing that?
Julie, do you want to do this to people at work? Like,
No. Well, I mean, to mess with them?
He doesn't even know what they are yet.
Horrible.
If you don't know what we're getting ourselves into, but just to make ourselves look completely stupid, let's just do it to somebody.
I mean, we don't exactly have a reputation of geniuses already, so why
yeah,
not?
let's at work we're gonna use this on people. This is gonna be funny.
Just start giving acknowledgments during your fucking card games.
Oh my god, Jonathan would be so confused.
In Scientology, there are drills that enable anyone to improve his or her skill of communication. A drill is a method of learning or training where you do something over and over again until you're very familiar with it and can do it well and easily. In the subject of communication, we have very specific drills that will help you improve your ability to communicate with anyone. The communication training drills are also called TRs.
Training routines.
By drilling each part of the comm formula with the TRs, any person's ability to master, which means learn how to do something well, the comm cycle, and thus help him better communicate with others, can be greatly improved. By doing these drills, you will learn how to make your communication understood by others and how to truly understand what they say to you. The TRs will help you become a good listener, assist you to be able to guide a communication cycle you are having with another person, and train you how to recognize and correct failures in the comm cycles of others. These are all skills of great value in day-to-day life. No matter what work you do or what dealings you have with other people, the ability to communicate with ease and certainty is essential. Find someone to work with you on the drills.
And that is why I have these two here.
Let's do it,
Let's
dude.
get drilled.
I don't know how good that sounds. I'll put that in I'll put that in out of context compilation.
Yes.
The TRs cannot be done alone. You must do them with the help of another person. Find another person to work with you and do the drills together. This can be a friend or someone you know. When you do the drills, they're done on what's called a turnabout basis. Turnabout means you each take a turn in doing the drill, switching back and forth from one person to the other. Basis means the system or way something is done. For example, when you're doing the first drill with someone, you do the drill as the student, the one who is learning the skills being taught by the drill. The person working with you is called the coach. When you can do the drill well and easily, you switch around and help the other person while he or she does the drill. The action of helping another person through the drill is called coaching. The drills give directions for the roles, which is the function or purpose that a person has in a particular situation or activity.
What? Who was that? I'm sorry, but who's that for? But keep going.
Of student and coach. Remember, when you are practicing the drill, you are called the student, and the person helping you get through the drill is called the coach. When you're helping the other person, you become the coach, and he is the student. It makes no difference whether you start out first as the student or the coach, because you and the other person take turns in being the coach and the student. By helping each other through the TRs on this alternating basis, you are both able to learn how to fully use the comm cycle. So before you start doing the TRs, find another person to do the drills with you on this turnabout basis of student and coach. It's very important that both you and your partner read through and understand all of these drills before beginning to practice them.
We're gonna have you practice in between drills, in between
Wonder how-
lessons.
Yeah, how many people that get into this have somebody else that they're able to rope in as well? Without
It's
judgment?
not even that. It's not that you're roping in people. It's that other people on the course can become your twin.
Okay,
Like you're in class with other people. Like,
You're in a course room with other people,
got it.
or a
got it.
training room, or drill room. Sorry, practical room. I think that's what they call it.
Each of the TRs has a number and a name, which are given to simply make it easy to separate them. Each drill states the position you are to sit in. The particular communication skill that you are working to get on each TR is stated under its purpose. Patter means what is said when doing a drill. When done fully and well and exactly as written, these drills lead to successful communication for anyone.
I am so fucking excited. Especially for, I don't even know if this one will be in here, but I'm fucking excited.
By drilling each part of the comm formula with the TRs, any person's ability to master the comm cycle and thus help him better communicate with others can be greatly improved.
Alright, TR0, which technically is OT TR0, because there's two TR0. Well, there's three. There's OT TR0, there's TR0, and there's TR0 bullbait. So this is OT TR0.
Purpose: this drill trains you to be able to comfortably be there.
B is not defined. The one thing you have to do is not defined. You
Don't say this one is not even talking, is just sitting there.
Yes.
just sitting and listening.
No.
Dear God.
You and another person are seated about 3 feet apart, facing each other with your eyes closed. There is no conversation. This is a silent drill. There's no twitching, moving, or anything else. Just sit there and be there. You will usually see blackness or an area of the room when your eyes are closed.
How will you see an area of the room when your eyes are closed?
Yeah, what are they saying?
Are they talking about like out-of-body
Yeah,
experiences? Like
right
what the
now?
fuck?
Yeah, they're jumping.
Comfortably be there. There's very little coaching used in this drill. The coach says start to begin the drill. The coach uses that's it to end the drill or to point out an error to the student. For example, if the student falls asleep, the coach says, that's it, you went to sleep. Start. The drill is done until you can comfortably be there.
We're being right now.
So, test your understanding.
This drill is done until you can comfortably be there.
Sure, true.
True.
Actually, before we get started, I am going
Yeah?
to read you something from Training Drills Remodernized, which is a bulletin written by Hubbard about how to do the TRs.
Got it.
So, I'm just going to read through this quick.
This is OTTR0 revised from 1971. This is called Operating Phaeton Confronting. There are no commands. The student and coach sit,
Blah, blah, blah. You already know this.
be there comfortably, in a position 3 feet in front of another person to be there and not do anything else but be there.
So, what the fuck does that
Okay.
mean?
I can't not be there if I tried.
Don't sit.
Exactly,
Don't
you
walk-
can't-
close
Just
your
don't
eyes.
walk away.
You can't stop existing. You're always going to
Watch me.
be.
No, Julian. Oh, no.
Student and coach sit facing each other with eyes closed, no conversation. On a silent drill, there's no twitching, moving, confronting with a body part, system, or vias used to confront or anything else added to be there. One will usually see blackness or an area of the room when one's eyes are closed, be there comfortably, and confront.
Now, a
Yeah, once
via.
again, it said you'll see a part of the room with your eyes closed. Once again, they said that. What
Yeah,
is- what-
I don't know why he says that. I'm assuming he's talking about something called exteriorizing, which is when the Phaeton leaves the body.
Okay.
But
When you
I do
actually
need
get-
to clarify the term vias. Confronting using vias. So let's say you're doing OTTR0 confronting, and you say, in order to maybe not fall asleep while I'm doing this, since my eyes are shut, I am going to focus on my left knee, or I'm going to focus on my right knee, or I'm going to focus on the hardness of the chair against my back. That is confronting using a via. That is not allowed. You must be confronting the person.
Me or Julian? Which one am I confronting?
You're confronting Julian.
Got it. Okay.
You must not use anything else to keep yourself confronting.
Okay.
You must not do anything. You must not focus on anything else. That's the point, and that's the problem, is you aren't allowed to focus on anything else. You know how the human brain works. You know that minds fucking wander.
Yeah. So weird. Well, we're gonna do it though. So
All right,
we
so
make it.
let us switch over to Discord again. And I will move my camera out of the way, not the fucking video from there. Cool. And, alright, so I must see the chairs. I can see the chairs. Got Kaleb on the right, Julian on the left, for those of you who have never seen them. Alright, so, now, face each other.
No touching.
Just rest your hands on your legs. Start. Flunk. Julian, you raised your eyebrows.
I
Start.
did?
Just to avoid this from going on too long, I will give you two a pass.
Yes, we did it.
And I'm a very fidgety person. As
Yeah, I
it is.
know.
That
His
was almost like
ADHD
hell.
was gonna he's gonna start attacking me probably. with
I
his
was
ADHD.
gonna flunk
I
you
wanted
for
to my neck like
flinching
this
and
the entire
moving.
time.
You were moving.
I not intentionally.
No.
I was doing everything in my might to not move.
Julian, you need to see more Scientologists. You need to get
I need to be
way more
cured,
often.
please.
You need to be cured.
Alright,
Therapy cannot help you.
so you are free to shut your camera off until we move to the next TR.
Boop.
Alright, so let me go to here, switch the window capture to this. No, get my stupid face in there.
When a student can be there comfortably and confront and has reached a major stable win, the drill is passed. History developed by LRH in June 1971 to give an additional gradient, an additional step, to confronting and eliminate students confronting with their eyes, blinking, etc. Revised by LRH August 71 after research discoveries on TRs.
So, let's get to the next one. Training 0, confronting. This is TR0.
Confronting is the action of being able to face someone or something without avoiding him or it. This drill trains you to comfortably confront another person. You and another person are seated about 3 feet apart.
Same position, basically.
There's no conversation. This is a silent drill. You sit and look at the person across from you and say and do nothing. You must not speak, move around, giggle, be embarrassed, or become sleepy. Comfortably confront the other person.
And again, no confronting using bias. No saying, I'm going to look at that person's eye, and then I'm going to look at the other eye, and then I'm going to look at the other eye. No doing that. You just need to be there and confront. So, we got patter, which is coach, saying start, or that's it.
The coach has 2 things he can say. If the student does not hold his position, slumps, goes unconscious, twitches, starts his eyes wandering, or in any way demonstrates an incorrect position, the coach can help him by saying, that's it, and correcting the difficulty. He then says, start again, and the drill goes on. When the coach wishes to make a comment, he says, that's it, straightens up the point, and then again says, start. The drill is done until you're able to simply be there and can comfortably confront another person.
What do they actually do to people with like ADHD problems? Like, do
I
they
don't
just
know.
not become Scientologists?
You're just not allowed to do stuff. They can
Or
become
maybe they would
Scientologists,
think-
you just gotta fucking manage it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they would think this would help you or something. I don't know.
I guess. Or people
Would
with
they
like
even, like,
anxiety
agree-
issues.
Yeah, would they even agree that ADHD even exists? Is it like it's like a psychiatry thing?
I think they call it something else.
They call it
They have a name for ADHD.
super fast.
I
reading
don't know
distracted
what
disorder.
type of auditing procedure would be done for it, but let us
That would be them acknowledging psychiatry to some extent, at least.
turn that camera
Which I
back
know
on.
They don't like doing that. Okay.
Before we
So we-
start, I will
Is it
read
for
you.
eyeballs?
Yes, this
Look
is
at
keep
people's
your eyes
eyeballs?
open.
Okay. Do I look at his eyes or like
Yes,
something
you
in
look at
particular?
each other's right in the eyes.
How do they
Wow.
determine when this is done? That's a good answer.
2 hours.
Oh, what?
Imagine being in what you just did for 2 hours.
Are you joking?
No. Now,
my
I
God.
need to introduce you to an LRH executive directive from the 21st of May, 1971 called The World Begins with TR0.
In a recent review of tech, I traced the cause of case failures directly to outcome.
Which means not communicating properly.
Further search revealed that in Trading Drills Modernized, this was not in.
This was not done right.
Nowhere in the world. This means HAS, course failures, HDC, auditing failures, supervisor failures, you name it, any failure in an org is traceable to soft TRs. This can get so bad that London once had permissive public TRs going. They wanted a rewrite so the TRs would be pale and patty cake enough for the public. There went London. And FEBC
Flag executive briefing course
has just told me that she and her twin in an academy
in an auditor training academy.
were once ordered to cramming because they had been 6 hours on TR0 without completing it. That's where that org went.
Now, this is called TRs the hard way.
Hard way TRs demand for a start, 2 hours of no twitch, no blink, no eye redness, no unconscious, no wiggle TR0. That's been required since 1961, but who did it? Only a few. So there went our elated Scientology public coming wee off an HAS. There went our auditors. There went all upper courses. A while ago, I got a hold of our toughest course supervisor and I told him, you get TRs in the hard way on every intern. And he began. Really real TRs beginning with 0, like the bulletin. Using a photo timer and restarting it at each twitch, flunk, wiggle, eye redness, wobble, or wander, TR0 has started a wave of wild enthusiasm and case gain.
Which means doing better in your auditing and improving.
An established auditor skill that brings an avalanche of success stories at tone 20. Just TR0 done the hard way.
So he'll blame an org not doing well just because they're not doing these stupid drills well enough.
Basically. That's one example.
Wow.
It's taking up to 50 to 60 hours on some to get in a real 2 hours of blinkless, twitchless, total confront TR0 on field
Blinkless, wait.
veterans.
How long are you not blinking? What?
2 hours.
Is that? That's not. That
I
can't
think
be.
your eyes can't get a lot
Now-
of damage.
Now, here's something that's changed over time, is the fact that Scientology used to have the public do this. Used to have them do 2-hour blinkless TRs. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah, because you couldn't do it, and you're like, wow, this is kind of stupid. I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe I don't know.
But
If you were that far into Scientology as is, maybe you wouldn't think it's stupid.
the
by then, I don't
former
know.
course supervisor that I spoke to, Chris, said to me, he's like, they don't teach that anymore. They used to have people doing it, but too many people from the public were getting up and just blowing the course, leaving the course.
But when you're further in, you do it though.
They're like, we already
Still?
got you, so you're gonna do whatever.
You are going to be redoing your TRs multiple times, especially if you are training to become an auditor, because you need to learn to have
Okay.
good confront skills. LRH said basically, put out a thing that said, oh, people are saying you have to do blinkless TRs. That's not the case. And then he ended it with, but any truly competent auditor can do it. Talk about the mind fuckery.
Oh my god.
And he read that himself with him and another CR member, and they were like, what the fuck is this?
So, explains all when people can't confront, they flub. Here's a list of TR0 phenomena even before bull bait is done.
Which is, you're doing this one right now before Bull Bait.
Just given me by the current TR course supervisor here at Flag. During the past week, I've observed a pattern that emerges on a person when he sits down to do TR0 the hard way. The phenomena is uniform in every person observed. First, the person dopes off, goes Anna 10, or goes to sleep. Second, eye-watering, redness, a burning sensation. This manifestation is usually the worst for the student to confront and is resisted the most. It may last for a few hours or several days. This is the period when most students attempt in some covert or overt way to leave the course,
Which is called blowing the course.
even if only for a few moments. Third, Glee, hysterical laughter. This comes in waves. The student will laugh long, hard, and loud for periods or in line charge.
I don't know what line charge is. Fourth,
Laughing for how long now? What?
periods. That's it. That's all he
Okay.
says.
All right.
Fourth, student becomes very solemn and in a state of hopelessness or it can't be done thing.
Or it can't be done thing. So, like, I guess that's their attitude.
Fifth, student exteriorizes,
Which means the spirit, the thetan, has left the body.
has cogs,
Which are cognitions, which is basically just a realization, like, that's why this or that's why that.
and VGIs.
Very good indicators, which is a cheery attitude, feeling like brighter, uplifted, that type of thing.
Changes observed on specific students. Student A, a Sea Org executive, laughed for 4 days, almost continually.
4 days.
Enormous reality change. Eyes much brighter, face features changed. Certainty. Student B, a key Scientology executive with former case trouble, went through a very heavy body motion thing for 6 days. Severe jerking of the shoulders, almost like a coma. Yesterday he came out of it with tremendous cognitions. Said he felt great and his machinery was broken down.
What machinery? I'm assuming he's talking about his body.
Oh, that okay. I was just saying, like, I'm trying to think of any machinery that would be.
Students, yeah.
Okay, the people.
Student C, an FEBC
Flag Executive Briefing Course.
grad, took off his glasses and has not put them back on. Said he didn't need them. Looks extremely bright. This happened his second day on TR0. Student D, who is an FEBC grad and an OT, turned on a somatic in the neck. It blew.
So the pain went away. After it came on, then it went off.
Said he was totally exterior, not worried about his body, and was practicing just being there. Eyes very clear. Student E, an ex-school teacher, notable case change, much more at cause, although at this time he needs more work on his TRs. Student F, a famous celebrity, from social facade to certainty, much more causative, lost 10 pounds.
Lost 10 pounds from these.
Student G, a veteran course supervisor, changing valence, often heavy and a 10 running off.
I know what valence is, and it's the whole thing.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about it and it being completely different than
Yeah.
like the psychological one.
Yeah.
Large resistance to being controlled. Doing well, though. So right in your hands, you have a magic tool if you apply it. This means it will take some enrollees on
Okay, it is HAS course.
an HAS course weeks just to get through plane zero. But when they do, wow, have you made a Scientologist? You have to level with them. Now look, you have to tell the newcomer, this isn't an easy course. In fact, it's hell. But when you've managed it, you wouldn't sell the result for $1 million. On brand new people, you get TRs in on a gradient. TR 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, round and round, each time a little more exacting. First time he reads the bulletin and does TR 0. You ignore the blinks, etc. Give him a win of being able to sit in a chair. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. If he fails 3, back to 0. Keep him winning. Keep it getting more exacting. Finally, no blink, no swallow, no red eyes, no twitch, 2 hours 0. And the hard way with the rest of the TRs, you keeping him winning, but you don't let him off the HAS course until he's made it up to TR's total bull bait. TRs the hard way means your auditor courses will begin to produce stellar auditors fast because your academy and St. Hill special briefing course and class 8-0 auditors must be passed, really passed, and so must the other TRs all the way to 9, all a total hard way. Look, begin to use the TRs the hard way on public, tech, and admin beings, and you'll drop out 80% of your troubles and begin real org expansion. The mini course supervisor hat should have this. TRs are now being taught this way to course supervisor students on that course. We're in power on the planet with stats. We have to deliver. Your first org step to big production is TRs the hard way.
By the way, org is short for organization, which is just what they call their churches.
Yeah, I was actually gonna tell Julian, don't you just love all of these acronyms
Org.
and just abbreviations? Like, I don't know why he loves talking this way, but like, it's just
Makes
so
him
many
feel
things.
Smart.
I bet if it makes you feel inferior to everybody else when you're like new to Scientology and like you're getting into it, and then you just seem like clueless because you don't know all these different abbreviations and acronyms.
Not knowing which.
Yeah, and then it makes you want to learn it because you're like, oh, I don't want to be the guy that just doesn't even know how to talk to anybody.
Exactly. And the
But
final
again, we're on communication, and I doubt it helps your communication to have unnecessary acronyms every place that you can possibly put one.
Yeah, and then the final statement on this is
There is no more important org step that you can take to get your products soaring.
which means to get your production statistics up.
And what are the statistics on, like getting new members or something? Or-
Every person who works at an organization has a specific statistic or specific statistics.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on your post.
And when he was saying do the TRs the hard way, what does he mean? Just like make sure they
Blinkless.
really get it. Blinkless. Oh my
Blinkless TR0. And get more exact. So like if Julian slightly flinches, I tell him flunk. You flinched. Start. So we already know that the purpose is to train a student to confront a pre-clear, a patient.
With auditing only or with nothing. The whole idea is to get the student able to be there comfortably in a position 3 feet in front of a pre-clear, to be there and not do anything else but be there. Have the student and coach sit facing each other, neither making any conversation or effort to be interesting. Have them sit and look at each other and say and do nothing for some hours. We already know that student must not speak, blink, fidget, giggle, or be embarrassed. It will be found the student tends to confront with a body part rather than just confront, or to use a system of confronting rather than just be there. The drill is misnamed if confronting means to do something to the PC. The whole action is to accustom an auditor to being there 3 feet in front of a pre-clear without apologizing or moving or being startled or embarrassed or defending themselves. Confronting with a body part can cause somatics,
Certain feelings, so like uncomfortable feelings.
in that body part being used to confront. The solution is just to confront and be there. Student passes when he can just be there and confront, and he's reached a major stable win. This was developed by LRH in Washington in March of 1957 to train students to confront pre-clears in the absence of social tricks or conversation and to overcome obsessive compulsions to be, quote, interesting. This was revised on April 1961 on finding that standard operating procedure goals required for its success a much higher level of technical skill than earlier processes.
That's just one example of an auditing process. So it's saying that this auditing process required a much higher technical level than earlier processes.
Revised in August of 71 after research discoveries.
So, like I said, you guys are getting a mix of fanatic and introductory.
Yeah, it's crazy how the introductory stuff is so much more simple, and I will say they did a good job on making these online courses easy for everybody to get into.
Yeah,
But
the only problem
any person
is
is they don't know what they're getting into when they
Mhm.
fucking read this stuff. Oh my god.
and even then you don't get everything, because when you look at the underlying policies that led to this, you find out how truly destructive it is.
Oh yeah. This is honestly so funny to see Julian do. Just him struggle at this. Also, us not laughing is gonna be hard. I'm gonna be honest, but you can yell at us, you can flunk us as many times as.
All right, would you be able to turn the camera a little to the left? Oh, sorry, a little towards Julian. There we go. Get both of you in the shot.
It's like mirrored on the thing. Hold on, I don't know why, but this is like reading me out. Where is it? Tell me when you. All right, tell us when to
Look.
All right, start. Fuck, Caleb, you smiled.
This is so hard. This is literally so hard.
You are
Julian,
teaching
laugh.
someone to be a fucking wooden statue, basically.
Okay, I have to like
Prepare
actually do an
yourselves.
actual meditation.
Pretend there's like we're gonna get hit.
That would cause me to freak the fuck out. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know. It helps.
All right. 3, 2, 1, start. Fuck. That's it. Julian, your eye twitched. Start.
Dude, I thought it'd be based on blinking, but anyway.
Okay, is that I'm trying to like resist a blink.
Well, if you want to do TRs the hard way, we can resist blinks.
No,
but
I know. I was thinking like, oh, we're not getting flunked for.
I'm not
blinking.
flunking you guys for blinking.
We're not doing it the hard way.
Okay.
If Hubbard was here, it'd be different.
Flunk, Julian, you slouched.
Whoa! We're all right.
Also, Julian just has too much caffeine in his system. All right, tell us when to start it.
I'm caffeine free right now.
Start. Flunk. That's it. Julian, you're squinted your eyes.
I didn't
No, seriously, Julian, you have ADHD or something. You need to get.
This
I
is
didn't move.
how exact a course supervisor will get with you two if you do this in a course room.
There would be a fight.
Yeah, Julian.
Oh, we'll save that for TR 6 to 9.
Wait, what's TR6 to 9?
It's all about control.
I would lose my temper.
But controlling people is that
Yes.
that's what? Oh my god.
Everybody, this has been a partial demo of the beginning training routines, and I am so happy to have Julian and Caleb here to demonstrate instead of me having to do it with somebody else.
Yeah.
Um,
Perfect for this.
I want to thank you two for joining me on this, and I can't wait to pick this up at some point in the future. I don't know when you guys are free to keep going with this, but I'm excited to dive back in.
I think the best is just shoot for the same time next week or something.
Cool. Sounds good. All right.
Well, thank you.
I will talk to everybody later, and peace out.
See ya.